Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukut.
Top of the morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And I couldn't help but notice that it's a lovely morning. It wasn't wet, it wasn't scorchingly hot, and it was absolutely splendid. And this is what life on an island is all about. But this morning we've got a double whammy here. Newsline is pleased to welcome this morning Mr. Wasantha Samarasinghe, the convener of the Voice Against Corruption, and we are also joined by that absolute wonderful legal expert with interest in anacondas and all sorts of other things, Mr. Govind Dasri. Very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you. Yeah.
Wasantha Samarasinghe, thank you very much for coming on Newsline. I know that you normally come on the Sinhalese language programs, but this matter is obviously so important that you want to take the message to everybody. So thank you very much for coming on an English program. And of course you're here because you've been shouting a lot about the bond scam. And yesterday, for the first time, the media were able to, they somehow had access to this information, to voice recordings that took place, and it's in connection with the February 2015 bond. But first of all, Mr. Wasantha, I'd like to ask you, how did you get these tapes?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank Faraz to invite me to discuss this matter, because the Bondi scam is a very internationally famous scam in the country. It was very famous fraud. It's affected to the government debts and people's debts. This Voice Against Corruption, we emphasize to country this corruption was affected all the people, especially EPF workers' money. Then day by day we watching and searching and explaining and pressuring to the government to take action against this fraud. So many people have given us to evidence regarding these scams. Then one of our source from outside, really after 2.5 years, this tape sent me by outside.
From outside of Sri Lanka?
Yes, outside of Sri Lanka. He's living in UK. I think so. He's living in UK. After that, he phoned me and...
Is this Sri Lankan man?
Yes, Sri Lankan man, exactly.
Sri Lankan man, not
yes,
a lady?
Not
man.
lady, yes.
Right. Okay.
Then I can only say, like, Sri Lankan man, he talked to me, and after that he mentioned to me he had this kind of tape, telephone conversation on that day, on the 15 February 27th, 2015.
That means on the day of the auction?
Day of the auction.
Yes.
During the 10 to 12, I think.
The time period?
Time period.
Okay. Between 10 and 12?
12, that was the...
That's the time of the bond ending.
Yeah. Then he talked to me and he asking to me, you can release to media. Then that's why he sent to me. Then yesterday after 1 week ago I got it, then I listened and I clarified.
Yeah.
Then after that, yesterday I exposed to the media and country. Then we hope to send it to Presidential Commission to investigate and summon these officers, and they can get some answers. They have good evidence, I think. So that's why we explore.
Isn't it amazing that here we are in this tiny little country, the pearl of the Indian Ocean. We're an island nation, 22 million people. We have a scam of gigantic proportions. We have a governor from Singapore. We have a prime minister and his party who are fond of talking about Westminster-style democracy and politics, and the prime minister has lectured the opposition, then this SLFP, about the various methodologies and styles of Westminster-style democracy. And here we are, all of a sudden, with all these investigators and commissions and 3-member committees and all sorts of things trying to unravel what the Attorney General's Department called the greatest financial scam to have afflicted the people of Sri Lanka since independence. And then, hey bingo, after 2.5 years, somebody who's living outside of this country is so incensed, his conscience has been aroused so much that he gets in touch with Wasantha Samarasinghe, who is shouting himself hoarse about this bond scam. And what does that indicate to you, Mr. Govindasri?
Well, it indicates that what is being not known in Sri Lanka is known internationally. It's strange that somebody from another country could send it over here when nobody here is in this position to hand it over to Wasantha or any person in authority or to the Bond Commission itself. Doesn't speak well for Sri Lanka at all, or those people who are involved in this exercise.
Now, Mr. Wasantha, when we listen to that tape, it's not funny. It's actually very serious.
Yeah.
Because one person, a man, is saying to a lady, "You better send me a cup of poison."
Yes.
Wahat botele kutte wot hondai.
Right.
Why is he saying that?
Because I think he know very well this is a very effective to the country, very badly effective to the country.
A bad effect.
Bad effect. That's why he's that both talk in government, state bank and central bank.
Yeah.
Both of them very they had a good idea about the situation.
Yeah.
That's why he told bring the cup of poison, because it will be badly affected to the market, country. Don't know where will we go.
Right.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't know where the effect will end up.
So very sensitive. That means very effective things they are talking.
Right.
So
very important. And this information that they're having, it's all about. It's price-sensitive information, isn't it?
Yeah, price-sensitive information, because I think he talked to me and he also very carefully follow up the Presidential Commission.
Right.
He mentioned to me still these officers didn't come and give any evidence.
Right.
Because he thought, that means he who sent the
your whistleblower.
Whistleblower, yeah. He thought it's better to investigate in these issues, the officers who are responsible on that time.
Yeah.
And he will give their evidence to the commission, who give their opinion and advice to brought this much of things and this much of things. Very special things I want to mention on that tape.
Yeah.
The perpetual treasury is, I think he is a CEO.
Kasun.
Yes. He requesting, please hold the time more than 10 minutes.
He's asking for an extension of time.
Extension of time, because they are going to bid again. They are going to have a bidding more than 3 billion, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Then they talk to the government bank, state bank.
Yeah.
Then they get the permission. They're ready to bid on behalf of the perpetual treasuries.
So they've managed to get a facility approved from the Bank of Ceylon, is it?
Yeah, Bank of Ceylon. Yes. Then after that he talked to the department.
Right.
Don't close the tender.
Right.
Then extend on the 10 minutes more than, because they can bid. That was the very sensitive information, I think so, because they know.
Because they can use that information and cause a loss to the state.
Yes.
To the state.
Yeah, that's 10 minutes. They bid 3 billion.
In that
extended time.
Right.
That's why they ask him to extend the 10 minutes more.
Right.
Then they know very well the government going to buy more than 1 billion.
Right.
The tender was 1 billion. The government bought 10 billion.
So what you're saying is they knew that the government was going to take up more money.
More money.
That's the only reason they wanted an extension to bid for 3 billion.
3 billion. It was 12.5 interest percent.
Yeah,
Then
which
that
is
was
about or nearly 3%
3% more.
Right.
Then that's why on that conversation we can hear about the Kalutara Bodhiya funds.
Yeah.
They are also bidding that 30 years bonds.
Yeah.
Then he has explained to them, and he has tell them to don't put 935.
Yeah.
It will go to 925.
Oh, okay.
Then he asking, what can I say? What now? They will ask me. You told about 925.
Yeah.
It was gone 1245,
Yeah.
1250.
1250.
More than 3%.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. Then it was a way. Then we can calculate and we can measure. Then 2015 central bank report of the country.
Yeah.
It mentioned because of the increase of interest.
Yeah.
Because of the bond scam.
Right.
They didn't mention about the bond scam.
Yeah.
Because of increase in bonds interest.
Yeah.
We affected 69 billion rupees. More we have to pay more than accepted interest in the country for 1 year. 69 billion. So that was the direct effect to the country.
Just to remind our viewers that if you want to send in your questions by SMS, please do 0772 300 305. Now I want to let you in on something else. The tapes that you're talking about were actually played at the Commission of Inquiry in the past, and we knew about it, but whilst we mentioned it, we were not in a position to play it because obviously there were reasons. But it's very good that this is now, that at least the media have, and the public therefore can actually hear it.
Yeah.
I know the public can go to the Commission, but 15 million, 20 million people are not going to turn up, and that's why you have the media to take this message across. Now the other thing is, Mr. Govind, it appears from all this, because Wasantha says that they wanted a 10-minute extension so that they could bid more money. They were putting together their facility in place. Now you've served on the board of a bank and so on. Now clearly the Bank of Ceylon gave this facility to them without board approval. It couldn't possibly have been given inside that 10 minutes. Where was the risk management? Where was all these other things that bankers are supposed to do?
Well, all the necessary precautions have been thrown overboard. I mean, you have just, it's an inside operation. I won't say it's inside dealing, but it's inside operation. It's all manipulated. It's all maneuvered.
And price sensitive.
Price sensitive, and the price is, see the cost is going to fall on the country. And now we have this bond scam. And I think now we got 2 extensions. Another 6 weeks is being given. It is necessary. I do say it is necessary because of the way that the Attorney General's Department has handled the issue. You had a situation where 2 ministers and 1 minister contradicting the Prime Minister. Mind you, the Prime Minister speaks of a press conference in the House. The minister says there's nothing. Now the minister comes and gives evidence. He's not cross-examined. Mind you, he's not cross-examined, or no questions is asked on that very issue.
And
so what does it mean?
What does it mean?
The presumption is whatever he said has to be accepted as the correct position because he's not subject to cross-examination. And that puts the Commission in great difficulty. Who did it?
But whose fault is that?
The fault is whoever the council who handled it. Who is the council?
If the Dapula de Oliveira says that, he's quoted in the press, he says that he considers the Prime Minister a material witness.
He considers a material witness. There's a major contradiction between Malik Samaravikrama and the Prime Minister.
That's right.
And he doesn't question anything on that.
Malik is basically is proved to have been rather economical with the truth. I love that, because it's another way, a longer way of saying that you've been lying. Right?
But its real question is, why is Dapula de Oliveira was once considered a folk hero, now like wimpy kid? He didn't ask
There
us
must be some. There has to be some
something.
compelling reason.
If I were the council and somebody come to
David,
me,
I'm going to pose a question to Mr. Wasantha Samarasinghe, and then we're going in for a very short break. And the question, Mr. Wasantha, is this: what do you think is the involvement of the Prime Minister? Don't answer that, because we're going for a break. When you come back, you'll have that answer from Wasantha Samarasinghe. Stay tuned, stay with us.
maybe I'm
Welcome back to Newsline, where we are joined by Wasantha Samarasinghe and Govinda Sri. Now then, Mr. Wasantha, tell me, what do you think is the involvement of the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka?
Interesting question, I think so, because
We are all waiting for the answer.
yeah, because he's the person who will bring this governor to here.
Who appointed? Who promoted the appointment?
Yeah,
of the governor?
because one of his friend, he worked in Singapore. He was a Singaporean.
Yeah.
Then he bring here, appointed as a central bank governor.
Yes.
After that, that means this scam.
The
One
scam took place after that.
After that,
Yeah.
he expressed his views in the parliament.
Yeah.
There's no anything happened. It's
Yes.
going very well.
Yeah. Prime Minister said nothing.
Nothing happened. It's very well. He is a very experienced man and internationalist, international characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that,
Yeah.
he appointed a committee,
Yeah.
prime minister.
Yeah.
Then he should himself go to the committee and give the evidence.
Yeah.
But he didn't do it.
Right.
And that committee reports also mentioned there was incident didn't happen.
You talk about the three-member committee.
Three-member committee appointed by the prime minister.
Yes.
After that, COP
There was
finalized
COP.
their report.
Yes. Gunasekara's call.
Diu Gunasekara's COP. Then after that,
Handunethi's
Handunethi's chairman,
Yeah.
as a chairman, he prepared another reports. Both emphasize, mentioned who are the responsible person and what they want to do, because on behalf of the parliament,
Yeah.
COP prepared this report,
Yes.
but still they didn't get something. Then president appointed the committee.
Yeah.
commission.
Commission, sorry.
The
It's a
commission,
commission.
yes.
It's a presidential commission with a very experienced
Supreme Court
judges
and a former deputy
former
auditor
deputy
general.
auditor general. He's a very
Very senior man.
senior man, and he has good experience with this
That's right.
area. Right now, all the UMPs,
Yeah.
their party chairman, secretary, deputy leader,
Yeah.
Ravi Karunaka, he lost his ministry also because of I think he get the bribe. That's why he get the house rent from the perpetual treasuries.
Yeah.
Then prime minister,
That's your opinion.
yeah, it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Then he is the leader of the party.
Yeah.
Who is the person who he bring here? That means
Governor.
our
Hyman.
governor.
Yeah.
Then he had a overall responsible as a party and his close friend.
Yeah.
And before he views in the parliament,
Yeah.
and his committee now in the presidential commission,
Yeah.
very clear now. All the people, not only Sri Lanka, I think all the government, international bodies,
Yeah.
IMF, World Bank,
Yeah.
ADB, all the people
Yeah.
know very well what was happening here.
And also, Wasantha, do you find it strange that the Prime Minister bought the central bank under him? Because they split the finance ministry into three.
Yeah.
One to Kabir Hashim, Ravi K, and the central bank under the Prime Minister.
I don't know why it's what's happened, because I think he's an expert of the law. In the act of central bank,
Yeah.
it should be under the treasury.
Well, it says that
I think so.
It's under the Minister of
It
Finance.
refers to the minister,
Minister
in
of
charge
Finance.
of the subject of finance,
Finance.
the Minister of Finance.
Finance. But first time in the history,
Yeah.
it's separate from the Minister of Finance and brought under the Prime
In
Minister.
the past, Mr. Dasri, in the past, we've had prime ministers in this country who have also been the ministers of finance, haven't we?
Yes, correct.
Yes. So, but in this case,
Even
it's
the
not
president-
that.
Even the
Presidents.
presidents have been prime minister.
In the finance ministers, that's right. That's right. But in this matter, we have, I think there's and this is my opinion now, you gave yours and I'm giving mine, that the Prime Minister of this country came to Parliament and made a statement. In that statement he said that the amount was 15 billion and he spoke about bonds. That means he spoke about the methodology of raising that 15 billion, in stark contradiction to what Malik Samarasinghe, the appointed MP and senior minister, told the Commission that at this breakfast meeting they did not talk about the bond. But the Prime Minister himself, Mr. Wasantha, told us in Parliament that they discussed the methodology, and he even said that in the past administration that there was corruption with the bonds, and he said that that is what the primary dealers are saying. Do you remember that statement?
Yes.
And when Arjuna Mahendran was asked at the Commission of Inquiry whether he knows who these primary dealers were, he said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So, is there, Govindasri, a compelling case for the Prime Minister of our country to turn up at Alsdorf and be subject to cross-examination?
He has a duty because he's a believer of transparency, he's a believer of democracy. He should come forward and tender an explanation. But even not only that, I fault the Attorney General's department. That wimpy kid didn't ask a single question. What is the presumption in law? If the examination chief, I do not know whether he did it or somebody else did it, but whatever it is, if there's no question asked, it means in law that it is accepted as the truth. Now there's a major contradiction with what the Prime Minister says and what the Malik Samarasinghe said. Malik Samarasinghe should have been asked. Now this creates a grave doubt in the minds of people. Now what is really happening for us, which I'm very concerned about, is the fact that people are getting bored. There is going on and on inquiry. This was necessary because Dapula at the last minute called for 20 witnesses. Why didn't he put it at the beginning? Why was he so vociferous and became a folk hero and now become wimpy kid?
But to be fair to him, if I was to come to give you an explanation in his behalf, I would say, well, you know, as the evidence came along, then it became clear that I needed more people. I didn't know right at the beginning.
But he should have known the Prime Minister is a necessary witness right at the
well,
beginning.
That would have only come into being after the extent of the Prime Minister's involvement became crystal clear. And there is no mitigating circumstances or ambiguity. The Prime Minister's involvement is absolutely clear, is it not?
From the very beginning, because he appointed so fast a committee of 3 whose report is totally uncalled for. I mean, no value is given to that. So he has to explain that. He has so many things to explain.
But do you think that in this culture that we practice in our country, in this very special democracy, I'm sorry I'm laughing about it, but do you think that in this culture that there will come a time where public officials, where members of the judiciary will say, well, we don't care who it is, if we want somebody at our commission, that person shall come. It doesn't matter that he's the Prime Minister. Do you think we have that culture here?
I think for the first time it is emerging. These 3 commissioners have done their work remarkably well, acted in a way that no one can say they're biased, like the commission that has held the inquiry against Mrs. Bandaranaike. They have acted very properly. They have they have discontinued certain evidence which came in for criticism. So no one can make allegations against them because they have acted.
Well, that's all well and good, but we want delivery.
Now the point is, for delivery, there must be, now we have 2 extensions and another extension because of this new evidence so-called materializing. But the question is, why was Malik Samarasinghe and Kabir Harjum not asked a single question, and then you put 20 witnesses at the time you know that the commission is coming to an end?
So
I'm not happy.
Your curious mind goes towards what? What is the...
Well, it means there's going to be a cover-up. And if I was the counsel and somebody did cover up and I did not question anybody, I would have gone to the commission and said, I am not permitted to question. Because you can't blame the commissioners when the counsel there doesn't ask a single question. from a most critical witness when there's evidence of when the Prime Minister's role from the very beginning, as Wasantha very correctly described, has been suspicious and above board, not above board. So he should have questioned, he didn't, and now he's absolutely dead duck.
Now then, our regular viewer Peggy has this question. In a country where people are arrested on the flimsiest of evidence, why have there been no arrests in this case? Legally, give me an answer to that, legally.
Well, arrest is possible, arrest has not been done, but I think that is because they want people to be free and open, but they have not been open. But I think for us, the important thing is surcharge. We got to recover the money. There's no other avenue. The Commission can make recommendations, and the recommendations should be of surcharge. I mean, if you don't surcharge, then they should have alternate punishments. Something effective has to be done. I mean, we can't be in the thin air and blowing hot and cold. We got to do something, and I think the first thing...
Mr. Wasantha, tell me.
Can I just answer?
Yes.
You see, two things the Commission must do. They must act within the jurisdiction. They must not exceed their jurisdiction.
We appreciate that.
Second point is that they must impose surcharges, which is a possibility under the law as present. Public servants are surcharged. So here...
And I hope that Governor Indrajit Kumaraswamy knows that the 6 months ban or suspension of perpetual treasuries is coming to an end very soon.
Yes.
I hope he's aware of that. Shall we send him a text message to remind him?
Probably he listens to you.
Well, we'll send him a text message. We'll send him a text, yeah? But, Wasantha, tell me, we've got about 4 minutes left now. Tell me, Wasantha, what will you do? What will you do? Are you going to meet the President? Are you going to write a letter to the commissioners? Are you going to write to Mr. Dappula de Oliveira so that we can have, even if it is history being made, that the Prime Minister comes, because the people of this country have a right to know the involvement of the Prime Minister in this matter. Was he involved? Was he not involved? Don't you think that we have a right?
One little question answer before. Prime Minister has been given an easy way out. He says he's going to give a clarification.
Yes, but who gave him that easy way out?
That he himself found an easy way. He said, I'll offer clarification.
Well, he's one hell of a chap then, because he comes to Parliament and he says, I instructed the change of the system.
Yes, but
who is he to do that? The Monetary Law Act doesn't allow that, does it?
Yes, for us, yes. As you mentioned early, if government want much money, they want to get 10 billion or 15 billion within 1 week. They can tender and call the money.
There was no urgency. That's what you're trying to say.
They are trying to misguiding the people, misguiding the country. That's why. That's why they all know very well right now. There is a incident that's happened.
Yes.
Now it's fine. It's on the investigation. I also went to 3 days to the Presidential Commission to give my evidence with the with the document. After that, and this issues also with the tape, I am going to send a copy to Commission.
Right.
And we are asking, bring them officers to Commission and asking their evidence, who instructed them to do these things. Then there may be a very important thing. That's why our views is try to find out who involved these matters. Prime Minister and UNP as a party, all the people are with the hidden names.
Yes.
Hidden names mentions in the public and papers and all the medias. Responsible, some people. Then our demand is the investigation should finalize with the proper way. I would like to thank all the commissions and who are participating in the AG department.
Yes.
They are trying to do a lot. I personally went and I see. Then, as you mentioned, when the investigation going on, so many people coming back.
That's right. So that's why.
That's why Prime Minister and 220 will come.
Unfortunately, Mr. Samarasinghe, we've come to the end of our program this morning, and how time flies when we're discussing matters of such national importance. Govindasri, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here on this program today. Thank you very much. And Wasantha Samarasinghe, thank you for taking the time out and to come and explain to us.
Thank you.
And we wish you well, and we hope that you know, of course, that the People's Channel is always here, and that's us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And on that note, and just before I say goodbye to you and take care, just to wish the news editor of the Island newspaper, Shamindra Ferdinando, a very happy 50th birthday. And take care. That's the way it was from Newsline on Thursday, the 2nd of November, 2017. Take care. God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.